Well, we're going now to the start of the ball game, and for the Mets, a little change in their regular lineup. They will have a new first baseman, Keith Hernandez, under the weather. And at first base for the New York Mets, we have Dave Magadan. At second base, Wally Backman. At shortstop, Rafael Santana. At third base, Ray Knight. In the outfield, Mookie Wilson. He'll be in left field. Len Dykstra in center field. And Darryl Strawberry will be in right. The catcher, Gary Carter. And on the mound, Dwight Gooden, 21 years of age, with a record of 14-6, an earned run average of 3.04. He's walked 68, struck out 171, given up 178 hits in 216 innings. Dwight Gooden with a lifetime record of 9-2 against the Cubs.
And here we go. Chico Walker, the right fielder, leading off. Second baseman Ryne Sandberg batting second. Rookie Rafael Palmeiro, the left fielder, batting third. Keith Moreland, the third baseman, hitting fourth. Leon Durham at first base, batting fifth. Jody Davis, who's having a fine year, batting sixth. Sean Dunston from Brooklyn, New York, the shortstop, batting seventh. Bob Dernier, the center fielder, usually in the number one hole, batting eighth tonight. And Dennis Eckersley on the mound.
And the umpires for this game tonight, Joe West back of home plate, John McSherry the umpire at first, Billy Williams the umpire at second, and Dana DeMuth the umpire at third. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WRTV and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WRTV is prohibited. So it's going to be Chico Walker to lead off for the Cubs, hitting .326, 1 home run, 4 runs batted in. Chico making his first appearance against the Mets this year. And the first pitch by Gooden, hit on the ground to Santana, the shortstop. So 1 pitch and 1 away. Walker, a switch hitter, grounded out for the first out of the ball game, and that'll bring up Ryne Sandberg. Sandberg with a batting average of .283 this year, 13 home runs, 67 runs batted in. Ryne, a former MVP. Back in 1984, when the Cubs won the Eastern Division, he was the most valuable player in the league. And the first pitch by Gooden, a fastball, a called strike. Sandberg hitting .231 against the Mets this year with 3 home runs. And Gooden goes to the curveball and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets are 23-9 against the Cubs over the last 2 seasons. And so far this year, they're 9-5 against the Cubs. 1-1 pitch, a fastball hit down the right field line, a base hit. Strawberry over to field it in foul territory. Sandberg on his way to second to throw offline, and Sandberg goes in with a double.
Strawberry got to this ball in a hurry, but I doubt that a good throw would have gotten Sandberg. A P down the right field line, about 4 feet fair, but Strawberry gets to the ball in a hurry and overthrows Santana, but a good throw probably would not have had Sandberg.
So a runner in scoring position on the double by Sandberg, and it brings up Rafael Palmeiro. Palmeiro making his first appearance against the Mets, hitting .231. He has 1 home run, 6 runs batted in, and 26 major league at-bats, and he takes it high for ball 1. Fastball to Palmeiro, who was the Cubs' #1 draft choice. He is from Havana, Cuba, but raised in Miami, Florida. 1-0 pitch, fastball foul back.
Palmeiro hit .306 in Pittsfield this year, was voted the most valuable player in the Eastern League. Struck out only 32 times in 572 at-bats. Cubs are very impressed with the smooth swinging Rafael Palmeiro.
His minor league days numbering just a few, as he has made it to the major leagues in his 2nd year of professional baseball. First year at Peoria, he batted .297 with 5 home runs and 51 RBIs, and a ground ball to Backman, the second baseman. They pick up the out at first, and Sandberg crosses over to third. So a runner at third with 2 men out, and the batter will be Keith Moreland. Moreland hitting at .274 for the year with 12 home runs, 76 RBIs. The Cubs as a team hitting .255 with 139 home runs. They are second in home runs in the National League. Their .255 team batting average tied for 4th in the National League. The Mets lead the league in hitting. As a team, they're hitting .264. And a ground ball to Santana, and the Cubs are out. So 3 ground ball outs as Dwight Gooden works his first half inning, giving up a 2-base hit to RYNE Sandberg. 1 left at third, and the score at the end of 1 half inning, the Cubs nothing, the Mets coming up.
The lineup for the Mets tonight, magic number is 1. Len Dykstra leading off and playing center, followed by Wally Backman batting second. Dave Magadan at first hitting third, and Gary Carter, the catcher, batting fourth. Darryl Strawberry in right field hitting fifth. Mookie Wilson in left field batting sixth. Ray Knight, the third baseman, hitting seventh. Rafael Santana has been swinging a hot bat, batting eighth, and Dwight Gooden batting ninth.
And on the mound, Dennis Eckersley with a record of 6-9. He's 2-0 against the Mets this year. His earned run average 4.63. He's walked 37, struck out 123, and given up 204 hits in 185 innings. And the defense, Durham, Sandberg, Dunston, and Moreland. Palmera, Denier, and Walker in the outfield. Davis, the catcher. And the leadoff batter for the Mets, Lenny Dykstra. Dykstra hitting .297. He's had 8 home runs, 44 RBIs, and the first pitch a called strike. Eckersley starting off with a fastball. Dykstra with a .373 on base average is playing in his 132nd game. Second to Keith Hernandez at 137. Keith not in the starting lineup. And the Mets will miss him as he is having some sort of year. He leads the National League at on-base average at .414. He leads the league in walks with 88. And he is tied for 5th with a .312 batting average. The dynasty begins. A chopper to Eckersley, and he'll have time to pick up the out. So Dykstra bounces back to the pitcher, 1 away, and that'll bring up Wally Backman. Wally having an outstanding year, hitting .334, no home runs, 26 RBIs. He doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify for the batting championship. He'll miss it by about 60. You have to have 501 plate appearances to qualify for the batting championship, and he will miss that. And the first pitch is ball 1.
I guess this is Wally World East. Wally Joyner controlling Wally World West.
And a bouncer to Dunston at shortstop, and he guns it to first base for the out. So now 5 outs in this ball game, all on the ground. Dunston, the shortstop for the Cubs from Brooklyn, New York. And now the batter will be Dave Magadan. Dave, a base hit in his first major league at bat. He has been up twice. He's 1 for 2, and he does not have an RBI. Dave in his first major league start. And Eckersley with a fastball gets a strike. First baseman at the University of Alabama. He has been a fine minor league ball player. And a base hit to left field. So Magadan with the first hit of the ball game as the Mets get their base runner here with 2 men out of the first.
Well, Dave Magadan with that sweet stroke of his. We talked about Palmero and what a good stroke he has. Now watch this sweet stroke. Boy, that is great bat position, weight shift, and a rope to left. Keep swinging like that, you'll get your share of hits.
That at .311 at Tidewater this year. And it brings up Gary Carter. Carter hitting .244 with 21 home runs, 95 RBIs. He and Darryl Strawberry with the club leadership in home runs, and Carter number 3rd in the National League in runs batted in with 95. Mike Schmidt leads the National League in RBIs at 113, then Dave Parker at 106. And then Carter at 95, and that's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Eckersley with 151 major league victories. He has lost 134. Toss to first base. And this ball popped up into shallow left center field. Dunston back, and might drop, and Dunston does not handle it. And holding the third is Magadan, and he would have been able to score, but he stopped at third base. For what reason, I'll never know. 2 men away, it made no difference whether the ball was going to be caught or not.
They may end up giving Gary Carter a double on that. Dunston actually catches the ball, but he doesn't make the transfer. He never had control. But Magadan had stopped at third base. He may have scored on the play. And with Palmeiro chasing the ball and Dunston not being able to throw it, it gave him a pretty good chance. See, he never had full control of the ball. A very difficult play, but Magadan should have scored on the play.
And now the batter is Darryl Strawberry, and he takes a fastball for a called strike. Strawberry hitting .253, 21 home runs, 77 runs batted in.
It's understandable, though. It's his first time on third base in the big leagues. You want to stay there for a while.
But it's no different than in the minors. The same location, 90 feet from second base, 90 feet from home.
I heard that. Alabama, too. It's the same distance.
That's right. And a drive to center field. Coming up is Bob Denier, and he makes the catch. So the Mets do not score. They did have 2 base hits, as Carter was credited with a 2 base hit of that ball, and 2 men were left in scoring position, and the score at the end of 1, it's the Cubs nothing and the Mets nothing.
Well, St. Louis over Philadelphia. The Phillies batting in the bottom of the first inning. Bob Forsch going against Bruce Ruffin in Philadelphia at the Vet. If the Phillies lose or the Mets win, then the Mets will be the National League East champions.
And it'll be Leon Durham, the leadoff for the Cubs. No score. Durham batting at .262. 19 home runs, 61 RBIs, and Dwight Gooden gets a fastball by the swinging Durham. Durham with a career average of .284 compared to this season at .262. Fastball and a good one. Strike 2. Durham brought a 9-game hitting streak into this game, hitting at .371 over the 9 games. And he has hit in 21 of his last 23, and that fastball just does miss. It's 1-2. Whitey Herzog's departing words to Davey Johnson when the Mets left St. Louis. There's one up the middle, and that'll be a 10-game hitting streak for Durham. Whitey Herzog said for Davey to relax. He says, we'll go in and beat the Philadelphia Phillies. You don't have to win another game.
Well, I'm sure the Mets do not want to carry an 18-game losing streak into the playoffs, however.
That would be a little devastating.
Yeah.
So Jody Davis will be the batter, runner at first base. Davis hitting at .238 for the year with 17 home runs, 60 runs batted in. And the fastball hit hard down the night. A good play there. He has no play at second. He goes to first, and Magadan comes off the bag and makes the tag. Fine play by Dave Magadan.
And a fine rhyme by my partner. Off the bag to make the tag, and that's exactly what Magadan does. A fine play by Dave. That was his only play. It's tough to make that slap tag, especially on the legs, because the legs are moving. It's like tagging a piston. Good play.
And a good play by Ray Knight as he came up with a tough chance there. Durham did move down to second in scoring position, and he's there with one away, and Sean Dunston will be the batter. Dunston's had his problems against Dwight Gooden. And the first pitch, a fastball, a called strike. He's had just one hit in 12 at-bats against Gooden, hitting at .083. Overall, he's hitting .252 for the year with 16 home runs and 64 RBI. Gooden goes to the curveball, and it's in the dirt.
Well, the one thing about Gooden that the Cubs do not like is his inability to find the strike zone. He's very young, very aggressive, and needs to learn that strike zone. By the way, his 16 home runs, most home runs by Cubs shortstop since Ernie Banks had 29 in 1961.
And this is the day that Ernie Banks broke into the major leagues back in 1953, and I was there, a part of that team. What a great player he became. And strike three as Dunston follows the problem that Tim pointed out, swinging in another pitch out of the strike zone.
Dwight Gooden will eat you alive up here. And he just had a snack right there. Sean Dunston upset about that, slamming the bat and the helmet down. Hard thing to do, and that's the one thing about hitting, is to try to be aggressive but be patient at the same time.
Patiently aggressive, and now the batter will be Bob Denier, and he takes the first pitch for ball one. Denier hitting .218 for the year with 4 home runs, 16 RBI. First strikeout recorded by Gooden in this game. Dwight coming into the game with 171 strikeouts. And a good fastball right there, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gooden has struck out 10 or more batters 31 times. 5 times this year, and he has won 7 straight decisions against the Cubs. And a good curve, but not in the strike zone. Good breaking ball. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Milt Thompson has just homered for the Phillies. Phillies not rolling over by any means. They've won 5 in a row. So it's now 2-1. Phillies still batting, bottom of the first inning at the Vet in Philadelphia.
That winning streak started against Dwight Gooden, and the big blow in that ball game was a 3-run home run by Mike Schmidt. And the curveball again, and again a ball call, as Joe West, the home plate umpire, said it wasn't in the strike zone.
First base is open. Otherwise, your 8th place hitter would never get a 2-1 curve. It was close, but looked a little low.
The pitcher who's on deck is a good hitting pitcher. And the fastball fouled back out of play. Last 3 seasons, 1984, the Cubs won 96. They won the National League East. In 1985, they won 77. 1986, they have won 61. That is not a trend that Dallas Green, the general manager, likes. It got Jim Fry fired and brought in Gene Michael to be the manager of the Cubs. And a curveball for strike 3. 3-2 curveball for the second strikeout by Dwight Gooden. And it ends the inning. 1 hit, a runner left at second. And the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Cubs nothing, the Mets nothing. And it seems like an eternity to the Mets to clinch the National League East, as they had a chance to do it back on Friday. Missed it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And now here on Wednesday, they go at it again. Mookie Wilson to lead it off, and Mookie misses for strike 2.
There's only one problem with that promo. Natalie Wood and William Devaney didn't star in From Here to Eternity. Maybe that's the updated version.
Maybe that's a new one.
Yeah, could be.
And strike 3 called as Eckersley picks up his first strikeout. Mookie caught looking.
Yeah, it was the original. This is an original pitch right here. Fastball right on the corner. In the original From Here to Eternity, Frank Sinatra, Ernest Borgnine, Burt Lancaster.
That was the start of Frank Sinatra's great comeback.
Yeah, that's right. Won an Academy Award, didn't he?
I think he did.
Best Supporting Actor.
What was his name? Maggio on that thing?
Maggio, yeah.
Now the batter is Ray Knight. Knight, the gamer in last night's victory, hitting .293, 9 home runs, 69 RBIs. He has a mini 4-game hitting streak. And Eckersley's fastball is fouled back.
And the female lead was played by Deborah Kerr. Is that right? Ernest Borgnine was fatso. Oh, fatso.
Zabriskie knows, I know.
Yeah,
that.
Steve will give you an update when he gets in here. He loves those movies. He's our resident movie critic.
2 strikes and the breaking ball for strike 3. So 2 in a row for Eckersley.
This is a good slider right here. And that's the advantage a pitcher has when he gets ahead in the count. Entice those hitters to go after a bad ball.
So the 2 strikeouts brings up RAFAEL Santana. RAFAEL hitting .217 with 1 home run, 24 RBIs. He has raised his average 41 points since July 29th. No score in the ball game. 2 men away, bottom of the 2nd inning. And the fastball on the outside corner called strike. Santana hitting .281 over his last 43 games. And this ball fouled back. So Eckersley again out in front. 2 strike count.
Thrown 8 straight strikes in this inning.
And we have a capacity crowd here. All that can be seated are sitting. A few are standing, and a few are like that. And it's 1 and 2.
Almost a capacity crowd on her head.
But still without the complete use of the stadium, as they are still waterproofing some of the seats, and this time it's out in the left field area. And a 1-2-3 inning with 3 strikeouts for Dennis Eckersley. We're going to the top of the 3rd. No score. Both sides with a couple of hits. And it will be Dennis Eckersley to lead off. Eckersley with 2 home runs this year, hitting .159. He has driven in 10 runs. And he has had a total of 10 base hits. And Dwight Gooden starts him off with a fastball.
A lot of RBIs, isn't it, for a pitcher? 10?
I'll say. He's had 2 game-winning RBIs. That's amazing.
Did you see that look that he gave umpire Joe West? Boy, that was a great look. As if to say, I'll never hit this pitch. And he's right.
Misses again at strike 2. He's talking to himself, isn't he?
What a great look.
And the curveball leaves him at home plate. So 2 fastballs in the curve, and Eckersley joins the bench.
Well, he gave Joe West a good look, and he gives this curveball a good look. Oh, there's that look he gave Joe West, as if to say, no way, what am I doing? What? You got to be kidding me. What was I doing up there? Look at that. No chance. I had no chance. That's great.
Now for the 2nd time, Chico Walker, and the first pitch is strike. Walker hit his first pitch his first time up and grounded out. Batting at .326 coming into the ball game with 15 base hits. And Gooden's curveball, a ball, and it's 1-1.
Chico, the answer to one of the really great trivia questions. Who replaced Carl Yastrzemski in his last game at Fenway Park? Chico Walker.
He became a free agency when he played 6 years in the minors and opted to go to another organization. He signed with the Cubs as a free agent, and now the quick out at first base as Santana fields Walker's ground ball. 2 men away. That'll bring up Ryne Sandberg, who doubled his first time up. Sandberg's 23rd double of the year. And he's hitting at .283 for this season. And Gooden's curveball, a called strike. Sandberg's double came off a fastball, and he doubled down in the right field area. Ball was fielded in foul territory by Strawberry, but he couldn't make a play at second. Going back to the curveball. Gooden throwing an excellent curveball here tonight. Sandberg, 19 home runs in 84, 26 in 85, and 13 in 86. He is one of the outstanding players in the National League as Len Dykstra fields a beach ball.
And dunks it.
This crowd here tonight ready for a victory celebration. Fastball just does miss.
And we mentioned in our opening comments that the Mets have only clinched one division title here. That was in '69. If you remember, in '73, they clinched it in Chicago the day after the season was over.
Had a doubleheader scheduled that day. They won the first game. The second game was called because of rain and darkness.
2-1 St. Louis over Philadelphia. That game in the bottom of the second inning.
Oh, what a curveball that was. So Gooden with another strikeout. He has struck out 4 of his last 5 batters, and the score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Cubs nothing, the Mets nothing.
Fans with pennant fever on the rise, this month is certainly going to be a September to remember at Shea. And thanks to 9X Yellow Pages, Sony Tape, and Rolaids, every fan attending the Mets game tomorrow afternoon against Chicago, Friday night against Philadelphia, and the 22nd and 23rd against St. Louis will receive a limited edition Pennant Fever pennant featuring the 1986 Mets, and there they are. Tickets for these and all remaining regular season home games are available at all Ticketron outlets, at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or you can call 718-507-TIXX for more information.
And also, fans, this weekend is Fan Appreciation Weekend at Shea. The Mets take on the Phillies. On Saturday night, all fans will be eligible to win a number of fantastic prizes, including a Nissan 5-speed hard-body truck, Emerson 13-inch color televisions, Sony Watchman, also some other prizes that should be well worth the effort of being here for the ball game that day and the prizes. And on Sunday afternoon, all fans will receive a knitted Met ski cap courtesy of Pure Later Courier as you look at Dwight Gooden in his first batting appearance. Gooden hitting .087. He's had 6 hits and 69 at-bats this year. Eckersley dropping down a bit with that sidearm fastball and missing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So a lot of big days coming up at Shea throughout the month of September to make this a September to remember.
Gooden misses the fastball, and the count now 1-2.
It's already been a year to remember here at Shea, hasn't it?
What a year. Mets with 94 victories, 50 losses so far, and the chance to be at the top of the heap. Gooden missing that fastball. Eckersley has struck out 3 in a row. Gooden has struck out 4 or 5. And the slider is just ticked, so the count stays at 1-2. Eckersley originally signed by the Cleveland Indians. And the breaking ball gets him. So that's 4 in a row for Eckersley. Struck out the side in the second.
4 Mets in a row have emulated the Nomad. They've left. Moved, gone. Eckersley saying, get out of here. Both pitchers with excellent equipment tonight.
And no score in the ball game. Both sides with 2 hits, and the batter will be Len Dykstra with 1 away here in the 3rd for the Mets. Dykstra grounded back to the pitcher's first time up and was thrown out. And the breaking ball, a called strike. If the Mets could clinch it here tonight, it would not be the earliest ever. And there's a strike call for strike 2. The 1975 Reds in the National League West clinched the division on September 7th in their 142nd game. That is the best ever. As you look at Davey Johnson, who has won more games than any manager in the major leagues over his last 3 years. And it's ball one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1969 Orioles, and the Mets beat them in the World Series, have the second best record for clinching. They clinched on September 13th in their 146th game. Ground ball hit in the hole and a base hit to right. So Dykstra singles to right with 1 man out.
This is a slider down and in. You saw Davis sitting away. He wanted to backdoor that slider, but Dykstra, because that ball down and in, very easy pitch for a left-handed hitter to handle.
And it brings up Wally Backman. Wally grounded out his first time up. Dykstra a threat to steal. He leads the club in stolen bases with 29. Davis, a very tough catcher on stolen base attempts. He has an outstanding record, throwing out 45% of the runners. 30% is considered good.
Jody's thrown out 76 this year, and that surpasses his high of 1982 when he threw out 61 base runners. He's having a good year defensively.
And a drive into center field for a base hit. Dykstra rounding second, then puts on the brakes as he stops quickly. Denier getting to that ball in a hurry.
Without a throw. We talk about it a lot on the broadcast that the best way to stop the runners is to get to the ball in a hurry. Denier does that, and he stops Dykstra without a throw.
So the Mets have Dykstra at second base, Backman at first, and the batter playing in place of Keith Hernandez, Dave Magadan. Magadan, a base hit his first time up, a single to left field. He is an opposite field hitter. Does not have a lot of power, but he does make great contact. He's now 2 for 3 in the major leagues. And he pulls it down the right field line. A run will score. Dykstra coming in. Backman to third base, and the Mets lead it 1-0. Backman scrambling back to third, and he gets back in safely.
How thrilling to be able possibly to tell your grandchildren that your first major league RBI was a game winner in the clincher. If the game ended right now, that's what Magadan would be able to tell his grandchildren, even though we've only played 3 innings.
It could be, though.
Yeah,
no
that's
doubt about
right.
it. Mets with 3 consecutive base hits after Eckersley had struck out 4 in a row. And Dykstra coming in to score after he had singled on the base hit by Dave Magadan. So runners at first and third and 1 man out, and the batter will be Gary Carter. Carter blooped a double his first time up. Cubs set up their infield at double play depth. And Carter fouls off a fastball.
It's got to really be thrilling. Dave Magadan, his first RBI, getting his first major league start. He's 2 for 2. He's got a sweat or something. I mean, sweat, Dave. Act like it's a
Jump
tough
up and
thing.
down.
We played all these years, and we're trying to tell people how tough it was. He's making us look bad. I'm telling you.
He looks like Joe D out there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, Philadelphia scored 3 in the bottom of the second. They lead St. Louis 4-2, top of the third. Dave just treating this like it's another day's work.
Backman the runner at third. Magadan the runner at first, 1 man out. 2 strikes the count to Carter. And the breaking ball just outside. It's 1-2. On deck batter for the Mets, Darryl Strawberry. And the sinking fastball on the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carter with 95 runs batted in.
That fastball inside just to show me they're going to go right back out there.
And he gets him with a slider. Perfect pitch after setting Carter up with the inside, low inside, sinking fastball.
Really a good pitch by Eckersley. Boy, that is a nasty pitch.
So Eckersley gets his 5th strikeout. It could be a big one. Strawberry steps in now with 2 men out. Darryl lined out to center field his first time up. Batting at .253, 21 home runs, 77 runs batted in. And this ball is hit high in the air in foul territory, and it's up there.
That looked like that ball Mike Laga hit the other night. Hit it way out of Busch Stadium. Out of the whole place. The only ball that's ever been hit out of there, but that ball down and in and pulled it. Of course, Darryl didn't hit it that high, but he did get under it quite a bit.
And there's a base hit to left field. Backman comes in to score, and the Mets lead 2-0 as Strawberry comes through with 2 men out.
Just muscles this ball the other way.
And the base hit by Strawberry brings up Mookie Wilson. Mookie struck out his first time up, and he hits one right back to Eckersley, who flips the first for the out. But the Mets get 2 runs. Well, the title's on the line when WBA light heavyweight champ Marvin Johnson takes on top contender Jean-Marie Imibi on Channel 9.
Rafael Palmeiro, the batter. And he takes a fastball that's high, 1-0 to Rafael. Inside and low, 2-0. Palmeiro went to the University of Mississippi State down in Starkville, and he was a college teammate of Will Clark of the San Francisco Giants. Good stroke, 2-0. Outside, 3-0.
He was born in Havana, Cuba, and of course not many players coming out of Havana anymore since Fidel Castro took over down there. When Batista was there, some great players came to the States from Cuba.
Palmeiro walks 4 straight balls, and the first walk issued by Dwight Gooden.
On the Nissan scoreboard in the National League, the Expos 6, the Pirates 5. That's a final score. In the bottom half of the 3rd, the Phillies 4, the Cardinals 2. The Astros and Reds no score top of the 4th. The Braves 1, the Dodgers nothing top of the 3rd. The Giants and Padres later on.
Average speed at first base in Palmeiro. Keith Moreland, the batter. Moreland grounded to short his first time up, but a very, very tough hitter with a man on first. He loves to shoot for that hole, and it's wide open. Ball 1. 5 straight balls thrown by Gooden here in the 4th. 2-0, New York on top. Backman cheating at second base. Magadan holding Palmeiro at first. So a big hole for which to shoot. Gooden on the year, 14-6. 46-11 in his last 73 starts with a 2.04 ERA. Well hit left field. If it's fair, it's out of here. It's foul, it's out of here too, but it's foul.
It's foul and doesn't count. Moreland with 12 home runs this year, and he got around to that inside fastball and just missed his 13th. He's hit 8 home runs against the Mets in his major league career and has hit the Mets well, 322 over the years. Started with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Went to the Cubs back in 1982, or actually 81, from Mike Krukow. Fastball is high, 2-1. Moreland a pull hitter when he's ahead in the count. And when the pitcher's ahead in the count, he's more inclined to go the other way. Leon Durham on deck. Curveball, he may have gone too far and did, says Joe West. Moreland unhappy with the call.
Well, the 5th strikeout for Dwight Gooden, and it's, well, it isn't a strikeout, is it? I thought he was walking away.
So Moreland going too far on the curveball. It's 2-2 to Keith Moreland. Nobody out. We're in the 4th. 2-0 New York. Ground ball up the middle. Santana steps on second and throws to Magadan for the double play. 2 out.
Santana shaded over near the bag at second base, so he has a relatively easy play. And he makes it with that effortless throw that he uses all the time. And the double play erases the base runner.
Leon Durham singled his first time up. Curveball in the dirt. 1-0 to Leon Durham. 2 hits for the Cubs, 6 for the Mets. Mets trying to win their 3rd divisional championship in 25 years. And that's a lot, especially for an expansion team. Consider this, the Chicago Cubs have won 1 division back in 1984, 1 since 1945. So in their last 41 years, they've won 1. The Mets have won 3, or will win 3 if they win tonight, in 25. And the Mets being an expansion team. 3-0 to Durham. Ball 4, second walk in this inning and the ball game issued by Gooden. But he did sandwich that double play in between the 2 walks in this inning. And the batter, Jody Davis.
Catcher, Jody Davis.
In 1969, the Cubs, of course, lost to the Mets in the battle down the line. And that team run by Leo DeRocher, who was a great manager here in New York for the Dodgers and Giants. When Leo took over the Cubs in 1967, he said the Cubs weren't an 8th place team, and he promptly proved that. They finished 10th the next year.
Well hit, center field. Dykstra back. Ball is playable near the warning track, and he makes the catch. Jody Davis just missed it. It's 2-0 New York after 3.5, and we'll be back after this word from the good old guys. New York State champagne is iced down in the clubhouse of the New York Mets. It's 2-0 Mets. They are hoping the ice doesn't melt again. Had it iced down for 6 days. Tapper toward first, Eckersley over to Durham, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Mets with 2 in the bottom of the 3rd.
Why buy a sports car when you can follow the legend? See the awesome 300ZX at your Nissan dealers.
Rafael Santana, the batter. He struck out his first time up. and a slider for a strike. One out here in the fourth, 2-0 New York. Pop fly right side, Durham back, and he makes the catch in foul territory. This game moving along quite rapidly. Two pitchers that work very fast, Eckersley and Gooden.
Next pitcher.
And on the American League Nissan scoreboard, the Rangers 4, the A's nothing. That's a final score. In the bottom half of the third, it's the Yankees 2, the Orioles 1. Top of the fourth inning, the Indians 2 and the Twins nothing. Top of the third, the Red Sox 2, the Brewers nothing. Bottom half of the third, the Tigers leading the Blue Jays 3-1.
And it's 0-1 to Dwight Gooden. I was driving out in the car today, and this one being one of the rare times that the Mets and Yankees play here in New York. And the announcer on WNEW had a great line. Swing and a miss, 0-2. He said the Mets will be drinking champagne tonight, and the Yankees won't be having champagne, but they won't be having hemlock either because they've won 5 in a row, and the Yankees are playing very well right now, and they're winning tonight. Hemlock, not my idea of a celebration.
It's not one of your better vintages, is it?
That's right.
Boston leading the Yankees by 9. And Toronto also by 9.
Magic number 9 for the Red Sox. They're winning their game tonight also. Winners of doubleheader last night. And Dwight Gooden is punched out by Eckersley. 6 strikeouts for Eckersley, but the Mets have a 2-0 lead after 4. The Mets trying to clinch it, and those young men clinching a Bill Webb fan club banner, one of many in the stands tonight.
You notice how much classier those banners are getting. There's the pitching of Gooden as he works to his last batter when Dunston was at the plate, as he goes after the high fastball and struck out on 3 pitches. So Dunston will try it again.
Gooden with 4 strikeouts. He's walked 2. Eckersley, his opponent, has struck out 6 and walked none, but Gooden has a 2-0 lead. Dunston fouls it back, 0-1.
Dunston, of course, was a #1 draft choice the year that Dwight Gooden was taken 5th. Dunston went 1st in the nation, and Dwight Gooden drafted by the Mets as the 5th player drafted in the nation that year. And they're facing each other right here.
Line drive, left field. Wilson started in, then back and makes the catch. Good play, Mookie Wilson. Boy, that young man right there has a world of talent.
Well, he hits a curveball right here. It's a high curve, and he gets a lot of it. Mookie misjudged it momentarily and then makes up for it as he goes back to one-handed. And you're right about that. He's going to be some kind of a shortstop, as he has all the tools.
Bob Dernier, the batter. Bob struck out his first time up, and the curveball is high. There's Bob Dernier's last time up as he struck out on the good curveball. So Gooden and Carter came back with it again. Ground ball right side. Backman on the high hop throws out Dernier. 2 out here in the 5th.
Now batting for Chicago, pitcher Dennis Eckersley.
Dennis Eckersley, also a strikeout victim of Gooden. 2-0 New York leads, a rapidly moving ball game. This game an hour and 5 minutes old and almost halfway over in regulation play. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
And the Cardinals got another run, so they have picked up to within 1 of the Philadelphia Phillies. Top of the 4th, the Phillies 4, Cardinals 3.
Bob Forsch against Bruce Ruffin in that game in Philadelphia. Ball 1. 1-1 to Dennis Eckersley. 2 out, nobody on. We're in the 5th. 2-0 New York. Strike two. Carter wanted to roll it back to the mound. Gooden took a step and a half off the mound. Joe West calls it high, 2-2. Line drive, base hit, left field. So Eckersley gets the third hit of the game for the Cubs. He's at first with 2 out.
Well, he shatters his bat as he gets the base hit. Eckersley now with his 11th hit this year, and it's not where you hit him on the bat, but how they drop in. And a fellow by the name of Wee Willie Keeler said it best back in the 1800s when he said you got to hit them where they ate.
That's what Wee Willie did. If your nickname is Wee Willie, you're not going to say hit the ball 9 miles. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be Wee Willie, right? You got to come up with some slogan.
That's a pretty good one when you come to think of it.
Walker trying to do just that, but Mookie Wilson closing the gap. So Walker hits it where Mookie wasn't, but Mookie was there when it came down. Len Dykstra, the batter. Len 1 for 2 with a run scored.
It's that kind of a night.
Mets trying to pop the corks and pour the champagne, not necessarily into glasses. With 1 out, nobody on, Dykstra singled, Backman singled, and Dave Magadan with his first Major League RBI drove in Dykstra, and then Strawberry, an out later, drove in Wally Backman. That's where we are, 2-0 here in Philadelphia, here in New York.
And in Philadelphia, the Cardinals 4, Philadelphia 4, top of the 4th inning.
1-0 to Dykstra, and the slider misses. 2-0. Wally Backman on deck. Strike one. Ralph, you were talking earlier, you used an interesting term that we've used before, patiently aggressive as a hitter. Got an interesting letter from Elton Henley. Speaking of South Florida, he is a professor of English. Dykstra trying to bunt 2-2. Professor of English down at the University of South Florida. And he was talking about the term patiently aggressive. And you know what it is? It's an oxymoron.
I didn't know that.
O-X-Y-M-O-R-O-N, an oxymoron. I believe that's the way it's pronounced. Tell you what an oxymoron is after this. Lenny fouls it back. It's a figure of speech in which 2 totally opposite words are strikingly placed side by side, that is, juxtaposed, and the meaning is therefore achieved where logically there can be none. Patiently aggressive, they clash, but because it's an oxymoron, as Dykstra grounds it inside the bag, and he's going to have a double. A clean double down the right field line.
Well, the Mets are hoping that the fans here will be patiently aggressive later on if they win the ball game here tonight and clinch the Eastern Division of the National League. Dykstra is helping out here as he doubles down the right field line as he leads off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Mets leading 2-0. If you recall back in '69, the fans did tear up the field, taking souvenirs of grass home, tearing up the infield and parts of the outfield, and the Mets are hoping that the fans will not really do that this year, and we are hoping that too, because there's still a lot of baseball left.
That's exactly right. Want the fans to have all the fun that they can, but there's a difference between fun and destruction. Wally Backman 1 for 2. He singled and scored a run in the third. And he's bunting. Eckersley has only one play, safe at first. It looked like Durham came off the bag, and had Eckersley turned around, he could have gotten Dykstra between second and third.
Of course, he didn't know that. Dykstra held up halfway between second and third. Eckersley had his back to the play, and his catcher evidently couldn't get the message to him.
Your catcher's your eyes, though, so if anybody's to blame, it's Davis.
Might not have heard him. He might have yelled, "Go to third," but he might not have been able to hear it with this crowd here, and he loses the man at first on the bobble, and we'll see how they score it. Good hustling down the line by Backman, and now the Mets have runners at first and third, and an error will be charged to the pitcher. It will be a sacrifice and no time at bat. For Dykstra, that brings up the hero of the game so far, Dave Magadan.
Dave 2 for 2 on the night. Chance to do some more damage. Slider is outside, 1-0. Runners at first and third, nobody out. Bottom of the fifth inning. The Mets now with 7 hits. The Cubs with but 3. The Mets with a chance to blow it open here in the fifth. And continue after the game's over. Speaking of blowing things open. 2-0 to Magadan. The Mets have never beaten Eckersley. He's 3-0 lifetime, 2-0 this year in 4 starts. They never had Dave Magadan before. His 3rd hit of the night, 2 RBIs, and the Mets lead it 3-0. How about that?
Well, Magadan coming up with a 3 for 3 night so far. And some of Lou Piniella is wearing off on Magadan. Piniella is his uncle and his godfather, and another RBI. And look at this sweet stroke, nice and short, and another line drive base hit, and the Mets lead by a score of 3-0.
Tell you, he has an uncle and a godfather worthy of emulating, because Lou Piniella could flat hit. So can Len Dykstra. It's 3-0 New York. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Ball 1, inside to Carter. He had a bloop double in the first and struck out in the third. Ball 2. Gary Carter. Carter entered the game batting .244. He and Strawberry tied for the team leadership in home runs with 21. Carter 3rd in the National League in RBIs with 95. And he grounds 1 foul. Interesting to note that if the Mets win tonight, it'll be victory number 95, and last year they won 98 and didn't win it. Guy Hoffman, the left-hander, and our old friend Ed Lynch warming for the Mets, or for the Cubs, pardon me. Carter had a good cut and fouls it back. Still 2-2 to Gary Carter. 3-0 New York, bottom of the 5th inning. Nobody out, runners at first and second. Strawberry on deck. Billy Connors on the phone. To his left, Gene Michael.
Billy Connors at one time the pitching coach, minor league pitching coach for the New York Mets.
Looked like a backup slider that kind of caught the inside corner. Carter does not agree with Joe West, but there's one away.
7 strikeout for Eckersley. He has struck out Dwight Gooden in this game, but he's trailing by a score of 3-0, and this might be his last pitch. And he is going to the left-hander in the bullpen with the left-hand batter Darryl Strawberry coming up.
So with the pitching change here, bottom of the 5th inning, runners at first and second and 1 out.
Guy Hoffman, the left-hander brought in to pitch to Darryl Strawberry, has appeared in 26 ball games. He has won 5, lost 2. He has no saves, an earned run average of 4.46. And he has walked 24, struck out 39, and has given up 82 hits in 70 2/3 innings. Boy, that's a newly formed club right there.
Yeah. Well, Magadan 3 for 3 tonight. It could very well be his first major league RBI. Will be a game winner in a clinching game. What a story. Keith Hernandez not starting tonight. Congestion, and boy, Keith sounded terrible on the plane last night.
He could hardly speak.
Mets took a charter back from St. Louis last night. Arrived about 3:30, 3:45 this morning. So they had to do some fast sleeping. They're ahead 3-0. 1 out. Strawberry single his last time up to drive in a run. Holds up on the slider.
And St. Louis leading Philadelphia 7-4 with a big 4th inning.
5 in the 4th for the Cardinals, huh? If the Phillies lose or the Mets win, the National League Eastern Division title will be the Mets. Curveball outside, 2-0. Ball 3, Mookie Wilson on deck.
If there's anything that frustrates a manager is to bring in a specialty pitcher to pitch to a batter, specifically a left-hand pitcher, in this case to Darryl Strawberry, and the pitcher walk the batter that he is brought in to get out.
Yeah, because you can't combat switch hitting, and that's who's on deck. And Strawberry is on. So Hoffman walks Strawberry on 4 straight pitches, and here's Mookie Wilson.
And coming around to the right, left fielder, Mookie Wilson.
Well, the walk advances 2 runners into scoring position and gives Mookie a shot at some big RBIs.
1 out, bases loaded. Mets leading by 3. Breaking ball misses outside. 5 straight balls thrown by Guy Hoffman. Backman at second, Dave Magadan at second. Backman at third, pardon me, and Strawberry over at first. Line sharply, speared by Dunston over to Sandberg for the double play. A 6-4-3 double play on the only strike thrown by Guy Hoffman. The Mets score another run on 2 base hits, 1 error, and 2 left Top of the 6th inning, 3-0. New York on top, trying to clinch the National League Eastern Division title tonight. Champagne on ice. Ryne Sandberg 1 for 2. He doubled in the first. Gooden has allowed 3 hits. Fastball is high, 1-0. Ball 2. 2-0 to Sandberg. Gooden with 10 complete games on the year, 2 shutouts. Trying to win his 15th ball game. Ball 3, 3-0. He's walked 2, struck out 4. And it's ball 4. 4 straight balls issued to Sandberg, and that's the 3rd walk, and each batter walked 3 straight balls, or make that 4 straight balls on each batter.
And on the Nissan scoreboard, an update there. The Expos 6 and the Pirates 5 in the first game. It's 1-1 the top of the 4th in the second game of that doubleheader. Cardinals 7, the Phillies 5, top of the 5th. Astros 2, the Reds 1, bottom of the 6th. The Braves 1, the Dodgers nothing, bottom of the 4th. Giants and Padres later.
There goes Sandberg, the no throw by Carter. Sandberg with a tremendous jump at first. First stolen base of the ball game.
And Sandberg picking up his 30th stolen base this year, and he did this one on the pitcher. Gooden not paying specific attention to Sandberg in a runner in scoring position.
RAFAEL Palmeiro fouls it off, so it's 1-1 to RAFAEL Palmeiro. He's 0 for 1 on the game. Fine looking hitter, slightly open stance. Very quiet bat. Ranch Ricky would love that. Fouls another one back. 1-2 to Palmeiro.
Well, Joe DiMaggio had probably the quietest bat of any hitter I ever saw. Certainly could not be said of Ted Williams or Stan Musial or a few other the great hitters, Hank Aaron.
Certainly not Mays.
Willie Mays.
He's
Ernie
always
Banks, he played a piccolo when he was up there with that bat.
Piccolo player.
Oh, piccolo player. Moving those fingers all the time.
Yeah. Fastball gets Palmeiro. 5th strikeout of the ball game for Dwight Gooden. 1 out. We're in the 6th.
All right, here Gooden goes to the heat and gets it right by him on the inside corner.
Keith Moreland the batter now. Keith on the evening 0 for 2. He is grounded to short, and the second time he grounded to short, Santana turned it to a double play. Curveball and a beauty, 0-1.
This is a major league Lord Charles right there.
Wow. Outfield straight away from Moreland and deep. 12 home runs on the year. Another curveball high this time, 1-1. Bobby Keith Moreland played football at the University of Texas under Darryl Royal. Broke his wrist his senior year against the University of Oklahoma. That game, OU and the Longhorns playing at Dallas, Texas. They play every year down there.
That was the first game of the season.
His senior year.
You wonder if there is some sort of a portent going on right now. Moreland's playing third base in this ball game, and Ron Say who's hitting .276 this year with 13 home runs and 36 RBIs, normally at third, and there's talk that say he might not be back with the Cubs next year.
Blatant talk by Dallas Green as Moreland fouls it back, 2-2. I think the Cubs are going to have a lot of guys that aren't going to be there next year. Dallas Green openly, there's Ron Say right there, fourth from the left of your screen. Dallas admitting that he made some mistakes by not making enough changes after their '84 Eastern Division title. Sandberg at second, 1 out.
That is the toughest time to make a change because you just come off a great year.
Ground ball up the middle. Backman will have to hurry, and he does to get Moreland. Sandberg to third on the play, 2 out in the 6th.
Well, Wally not having quite the year that he had last year defensively, but also having a good year. And he picks up the out as he moves across there. Wally at one point quit baseball and went home. He was through with the game and now back to be one of the best second basemen around.
Leon Durham 1 for 1. He walked in the 4th. Sandberg at third, 2 out, 3-0 New York. 0-1. I guess making a lot of moves after you win a division is kind of like a businessman who's very successful admitting his shortcomings openly, right? I don't think he has any.
They won a division, and they also looked like they had won the right to go to the World Series against the Detroit Tigers, winning the first 2 games against San Diego and then losing 3 in a row.
Big blows in that memorable 4th game. 3 2-out singles by Steve Garvey in 1984 in the NLCS. And then against Lee Smith, a 2-run homer to win it in the 9th inning. Grounded sharply toward first. A good play by Magadan. So Magadan playing a remarkable ball game. He's 3 for 3 and comes up with a fine defensive play. 1 left, no runs here in the 6th after 5.5, 3-0 New York, and we'll be back after this word from Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
And right here is the play that Magadan pulled off to end the inning, and Magadan with 3 hits and a good defensive play to save a run right there. He's driven in 2 runs, his first major league start, replacing Keith Hernandez.
Ray Knight 0 for 2 on the night. He has struck out and grounded to first. Ball 1, 1-1 to Ray Knight.
Well, we got a second here, Tim. I'd like to pass on condolences to a good friend of mine, Bart Kristofi, who lost his wife yesterday, and we certainly hope his family will be able to handle the situation. A lovely lady named Louise Kristofi.
2-1 to Ray Knight, and 3-1 to Ray. Guy Hoffman in relief. Dennis Eckersley. Grounded sharply, base hit down the 3rd baseline. Knight will try for a double and make it easily. So Knight at second with nobody out here in the 6th.
All right, coming up with the double down the left field line to extend his small hitting streak to 5 consecutive ball games. And it is just fair, and Knight coming up with his 23rd 2-base hit. And it's a leadoff double, and it brings up RAFAEL Santana.
Santana struck out. He's popped to first. 0 for 2 on the night. 3-0. New York on top. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Good job by Santana moving Knight to third, and you could tell Santana was trying to do exactly that. 1 out.
Well, this is an inside fastball, and Santana trying to move the runner over to third base. Grounds out to Sandberg. No chance for play at third, and the Mets now have a runner at third with 1 out and Dwight Gooden the batter. Oh, the Mets are really up for this one.
Infield in. So be alive for the squeeze. Not squeezing with that check swing. Did he go too far? No, says John McSherry.
Well, the Cubs, of course, are certainly aware of the possibility of a squeeze in this spot. The first pitch, a curveball, and Dwight swinging with a half swing.
More aware with that pitch out. It's 2-0 to Gooden. Rusty Staub will enter the game in the 7th inning with Steve Zabriskie. Just writing down on my scorecard whether Davey ought to pinch hit for Gooden right here.
I would say no way. He's always trying to cause some trouble in the booth.
Trying to stir it up. That's right.
Agitate a little bit in the booth up here. Of course, Rusty wants to go up and pinch hit himself. He's got 100 of those things in his major league career.
2-1 to Gooden. Dykstra on deck. Guys used to say, hit the ball where you're looking on swings like that. Gooden looking, bailing, looking, and hits it over near first base.
Dwight has driven in 3 runs this year, and he's had 1 extra base hit. That was a 3-base hit. Of course, he's hitting with the infield in, and now he's going to go get another bat. He didn't know he broke his bat in that last foul ball.
Mets finished last place in 1983. Last, dead last. They lost 94 ball games that year, and they have won 94 this year so far, trying to clinch it tonight. Marvelous job done by Nelson Doubleday and Fred Wilpon, Frank Cashin, Al Harrison, Steve Shriver, Joe McIlvaine. Line sharply at Sandberg. A good job by Knight, staying out of the double play. So Gooden hit it well, but right at Ryne Sandberg. 2 out.
And of course, Frank Cashin always passes on the credit to his fine scouting staff that picked up these ball players, made the recommendations for the trades.
And the guys who put it into motion, Davey Johnson and his fine coaching staff. Bill Robinson, Vern Hoscheit, Mel Stottlemyre, Buddy Harrelson.
How about Hoscheit predicting that this would be the day they would clinch it way back in spring training?
I think I'll ever question him again after that call. It's 1-0 to Dykstra.
Clairvoyant, huh?
Certainly showed a great deal of prescience in predicting that, because here it is, the 17th, and the Mets are up 3-0. Dykstra 2 for 3 on the night.
His perspicuity is above recall now. And that's a breaking ball that Dykstra has to duck away from. It's not an intentional knockdown pitch.
Knight at third, 2 out. Bottom of the 6th. Ball 3, 3-0 to Dykstra. Wally Backman on deck. Keith Hernandez with his business partner of many years. That bat.
A piece of wood, huh? Let that bat do the talking. He can't speak. He's really got, his voice has gone.
That's the second walk issued by Guy Hoffman. The interesting thing about the 5 walks issued in this ball game, which will be forgotten after this game's over, all 5 walks have been on 4 straight balls. 2 by Hoffman, 3 by Gooden. Backman 1 for 3 with a run scored. Make that 1 for 2 as he sacrificed in the 5th. Single and scored a run in the 3rd and grounded to short. While he will push the bunt from the right side, we'll see what he does. Curveball for a strike, 0-1. Dykstra back easily. Reason Backman would be more inclined to push a bunt now is because of a left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher pitching. Almost all left-handers fall toward third base. Nope, swinging, 0-2.
Last night, Wally Backman had a triple in the right center field, the longest ball that I can recall him hitting right-handed. And it was only his 2nd 3-base hit as a right-hand batter in 6 years. And it was his 2nd extra base hit this year as a right-hand batter. He had doubled prior to the triple.
Oh, 0-2 to Backman. We'll see if Dykstra does anything fancy at first. Buddy Harrelson now coming out to retrieve a rubber ball that was just.
Well, here's a replay of that breaking ball, and Wally holding up on it, keeping that bat back, not breaking his wrist. A lot easier for a little fellow to do that than a big guy. Hold up on that swing.
Dykstra back again. Breaking ball tapped toward third. Moreland will have to hurry and does and makes a nice play. So Backman retired and so are the Mets here in the 6th. They strand 2 on 1 hit, no runs, but after 6, their chance to clinch.
Glad you could be with us tonight from Shea Stadium. Steve Zabriskie and Rusty Staub with you now as we go to the 7th inning, and New York leading it 3-0. The Mets trying to wrap up their 3rd divisional championship in their history. Jody Davis, followed by Sean Dunston and Bob Dernier against Dwight Gooden here in the 7th for Chicago. Davis has hit the ball hard twice, but is 0 for 2. And a breaking ball for ball 1. Jody grounded sharply to third and then fly deep to center. And Dwight Gooden has gotten 10 ground ball outs, and that's a little unusual for him, Rusty, but he's been pitching that way lately.
Well, he certainly has had a good performance so far tonight. The strikeouts he's had, he's shown a lot of strength with his pitches and also has the good curveball tonight.
Through 6, Dwight has not allowed a run on 3 hits. He has struck out 5 and he has walked 2. Fastball right in there. The count 2 balls, 1 strike.
Steve, I was talking with Dwight before the game, and if everybody doesn't know it, he's pitched extremely well on Friday nights. He said, tonight I feel like 3 Friday nights combined.
That's strong. Fly ball to right. Easy play for Strawberry. And 1 out in the 7th.
I have never seen him more geared up for a game than tonight's game. Obviously, he felt he wanted to sack this thing, clinch it in Philadelphia on his own. Now with a second opportunity, he does not want to let it get out of his grasp.
So far, he has done everything right. Sean Dunston has struck out and fly deep to left, actually a line drive that Mookie Wilson made a fine play on in left field to retire him in the 5th inning. What a curveball. Dunston almost came out of his shoes.
I don't think any hitter is going to make a great deal of contact with a swing like that. You're going to see the pitch. Good breaking ball. An overswing. There's absolutely no chance of hitting a ball with that swing. Sometimes hitters feel like they want to, they go up to the plate. They would rather look good almost than make contact sometimes. He certainly is not going to make contact with a swing of that nature.
Well, he's only had 1 hit and 14 times up against Gooden so far in his career. And a fastball, and now he has 2 hits, and it should be an extra base hit. Dunston, who can run like the wind, cruises into second with a 1-out double here in the 7th inning.
The difference in those 2 swings is so easy to see. He was just really nice and quick here. There's no overswing there. Just gets the bat head out, ropes the ball down the third baseline. With his speed, it's an easy double. You don't hit with strength, you hit with quickness. As you see Frank DiPino warming up for the Cubs in the bullpen. And up at the plate, Bob Denier, who is 0 for 2 in the game so far.
Denier has struck out and grounded to second. And Dunston did look like he might have hurt himself in that first overswing as he was twisting his back a little bit prior to getting the base hit, and then continues to do that down at second. And a fastball right in there, strike 1. Denier entered the game hitting only .218. And he's hitting less than that against Mets pitching this year.
And with 3 hits now and 27 at bats, I guess you could say he's been struggling. This is against Dwight Gooden is what I'm talking about. The 3 for 27.
Fouled that one off his foot, and the count 0-2.
It's insult added to injury right there.
Boy.
You're not only doing bad, you're hurting yourself.
Well, that's how things go when you're not doing well.
We have our colleague Tim McCarver in the back of us here, putting on his old clothes in preparation for a possible celebration down in the clubhouse.
After the game, Tim will be in the clubhouse. Ralph Kiner will be along with a post-game celebration of Kiner's Corner. And Rusty and I are going to stay right up here and anchor it for you, staying high and dry.
As dry as we can.
Breaking ball, strike 3. Dwight Gooden has had an outstanding curveball tonight, and he picks up strikeout number 6.
Outstanding is the right word, Steve. This is just an overmatch. Look at the knees. When those knees start buckling, you have absolutely no chance.
That is not Uncle Charlie. That is Lord Charles.
That is, oh my God, I don't believe it broke that much.
When Dwight has that one, a lot of guys take that bat back to the back grab. Well, Thad Bosley, one of the 2 outstanding pinch hitters on the Chicago team, will pinch hit for Guy Hoffman. Thad Bosley and Jerry Mumphrey together are hitting .343 as pinch hitters combined for Chicago this year. And now Philadelphia's come back. St. Louis now leading 7-5 in the bottom of the 6th.
Steve, Thad Bosley has 14 hits this year as a pinch hitter in 45 at bats. He's hit 1 home run, driven in 6 runs, and has actually been slumping a little bit. I remember about a month ago in Chicago, he had to have 12 or 13 hits. So he, as a pinch hitter, has been struggling somewhat. Maybe he's been starting a little more.
Hitting .265 overall on the year, and he takes low and the count 2 balls, no strike. Mumphrey and Bosley combined, listen to this, they have not only 24 pinch hits between them and 14 pinch hit RBIs, but they have a .439 on base percentage as pinch hitters. And that's outstanding. A fastball lifted deep to center, but Dykstra has a beat on it as it will stay in the park, and the inning is over. 1 hit and 1 left by the Cubs in the 7th inning. The doctor working on a shutout. Frank DiPino into the game for Chicago, the 3rd pitcher used on the night.
Frank DiPino been in 56 games with a 3-7 record, 4.32 earned run average with 3 saves. He's walked 26, struck out 62, given up 64 hits in 73 innings pitched. Started the season with Houston, came to Chicago in a trade, obviously with Houston. Since he's come to Chicago, he's got a 2-4 record with no saves. So all 3 of his saves were in a Houston uniform.
And we want to wish happy birthday today to our left field cameraman, Dominic Spada. And Dominic, 42 years old today. Boy, he looks great for 42, doesn't he? There's Dom in the white Mets sweatshirt. Happy birthday, Dom. You don't look a day over 20.
What's so old about 42 anyway, Steve?
Actually, Dom really is 20 today. Dave Magadan receiving a standing ovation in his first major league start, and appropriately, as he is 3 for 3 on the night with 2 RBIs, including the potential game winner. What a story within a story as the Mets are trying to clinch, and Dave Magadan has replaced Keith Hernandez in the lineup and has burst on the New York scene.
I am sure that more than one person in the Met clubhouse is going to start calling Keith Hernandez Keith Pip before the night is over, in reference to Wally Pip, who was the player who was a regular with the Yankees before an unknown first baseman came up named Lou Gehrig and played in about over 2,000 games in a row.
Wally Pip never played another game at first base for the Yankees. The 3-0 pitch is in there, and it's 3 balls, 1 strike to Magadan. Magadan singled to left in the first inning, singled to right to drive in a run in the third, and singled to center to drive in another run in the 5th inning. And a ground ball to first, and it's off the glove. Durham boots it, and Magadan is safe.
Well, I'm sure all the fans are pulling for that ball to be called a hit, but it is definitely an error. A little crowd reaction now to error first base being put up on the scoreboard. Nice swing. Right at the first baseman, though. There's another shot of it. He's always on the ball. Looks like Durham was a little too anxious to get to first base. Kind of took his eye off the ball for a second. And young Dave Magadan gets a great cheer from the fans here in New York, as he's now been pinch run for with Stanley Jefferson.
What a thrill for Dave Magadan in his first big league start. Stan Jefferson at first as a pinch runner. It is 3-0 New York in the bottom of the 7th. Jefferson there with nobody out for Gary Carter. Carter 1 for 3. Fouls it back for strike 1. Gary doubled, a bloop double into left center in the first, and he struck out twice. All 3 of those at bats were against starter Dennis Eckersley.
Steve, you think we'll see Keith Hernandez bounce out and take defense?
I think Keith Hernandez will be in there. In fact, Keith told me before the game that even though he's not feeling well with a bad cold, that Davey had told him that if New York is ahead in the late innings, he will go in defensively.
Well, I think that's great. As you see Mayor Koch walking down, getting a kiss from some of the New York fans here.
They're celebrating early. Jefferson just barely back in time at first. The crowd winding up. They won't be winding down for quite a few hours. Another snap throw to first, and again, Jefferson just in.
I personally feel that a left-hander with that move has more of a tendency to throw that ball away than to get somebody at first base, although those 3 plays were fairly close. Stanley Jefferson is obviously getting a good lead at first base.
And the pitch to Carter is outside, and the count 1-1. Jefferson, of course, a rookie, an inexperienced base runner, has never really seen DePino before, except possibly in spring training.
And he's certainly got quick pitch right there. That was almost a balk as quick as he let that ball go.
Another throw to first, but this one nowhere near close. One and one, the count to Carter. Jefferson at first with nobody out. And now Eckersley, or rather DePino, takes so much time that Carter steps out.
And you know, fans, there's only one thing better than a Mets win, and that's celebrating that win with an ice cold Budweiser. Met fans, this Bud's for you.
All the way to the backstop, and Stan Jefferson round second. He will hold there on the wild pitch by Frank DePino.
Well, I have no idea how he was holding this ball, but this is not even close. It might have been an attempt to throw some kind of off-speed pitch. That's a new pitch for him. But that ball wasn't even in earshot of catcher Jody Davis.
You could tell Davis started to go for the ball and then realized I just better turn and go, sort of like an outfielder. I don't even have a chance to reach up and get this one.
Memories of Choo-Choo Coleman heading for the wall.
The Chooch. No character. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Carter. Two and 2. The Mets, who have won more games than any other team in baseball over the last 3 seasons, trying to win their first championship in those 3 years as Ron Darling and Bob Ojeda share a laugh. And it has been that kind of a season for New York. A lot more ups than downs. Into short right center field. Chico Walker there makes the catch as Jefferson holds at second with 1 away.
Mets, right fielder.
Ed Lynch continuing to warm in the New York bullpen, or rather the Chicago bullpen. It's so easy to think of Eddie as being a New York Met.
It's the truth.
And here's Darryl Strawberry, who is 1 for 2 plus a walk. Darryl drove in a run in the 3rd inning with a single to left. When the Mets scored 2 to take the lead initially, they added 1 in the 5th and lead 3-0. Ripped to right field. Here comes Jefferson around 3rd. He falls down. Walker, who held the ball, now throws it, but Jefferson scores. Chico Walker making a mistake. Did not throw to second, did not throw home or to the cutoff man. And even though Jefferson fell down because Walker held the ball, Jefferson scored. Keith Hernandez joining the fraternity called Kappa Stew. 4-0 New York.
Well, we're going to get a shot of this play. Darryl Strawberry is going to rip this ball. The ball's going to, you don't see it here, but as he felt, you saw the ball bouncing. Stanley Jefferson scores. And Chico Walker, if he could have held on to that ball, would have had a chance.
Mookie Wilson swings and misses at a high fastball. 1 strike to Mookie. Mookie's 0 for 3. He is struck out looking, grounded back to the pitcher, and hit into a 6-4-3 double play. A sharp 1 hopper at end of the 5th inning. 1 run in here in the 7th. Foul and ricocheting into the stands for strike 2. Mookie's been struggling lately. He had a tough 2-game series in St. Louis. In fact, in the first game, a 13-inning affair, when he led off in the batting order. Leading off, he was 0 for 6 in that ball game. Strawberry at first, 1 out. Fouled away again. Still 0-2. DePino, the 3rd Chicago pitcher. Eckersley went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 3 runs. Guy Hoffman pitched an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief. And DePino here in the 7th has given up a run on a hit after Dave Magadan reached on an error to open the inning, and Stanley Jefferson pinch ran for him. Strawberry with a soft throw back easily. Darryl running. The pitch is outside, and Jody Davis with a quick release gets Strawberry, and Darryl can't believe it. Davis got rid of the ball in 1 quick hurry.
He certainly did, Steve. The slide is going to cost Darryl Strawberry being safe here. That's a very tough pitch. Jody Davis does make a nice move. that slide is a slide that's not, it's almost like I'm going to try to get to the base instead of getting there. That stand-up slide always gets you in trouble. No matter what happened there, even if the throw was off a little bit, his foot was not coming to the bag. It's something Darryl has to work on.
And Mookie is struck out to end the inning. But the Mets get one on one hit and an error here in the 7th inning as they move closer toward the championship of the Eastern Division in the National League. Say fans, now's your chance to cast your vote for the Met of 86. Just send a postcard with your name, address, and phone number and your vote for the Met of 86 to Met of 86, WOR TV, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. And on Monday night, October 6th at 9, during WOR's end of the season special, Bring It Home Mets, 5 of the Mets fans who vote for the winning player will win a pair of 86 Mets playoff tickets. Employees and their immediate families of WOR, RKO TV, and its subsidiaries are not eligible to vote. Keith Hernandez, you saw at first base, has replaced Dave Magadan. After Magadan went 3 for 4, scored, or didn't score actually, Stan Jefferson scored for him, but drove in 2 runs, including the game winner, if the game were to stand as is. So Hernandez in there as the Mets try to clinch it, and Chico Walker against Dwight Gooden takes high, and the count 2 balls, no strikes. Walker is 0 for 3 after coming into this game with a 6-game hitting streak. He's played now in 12 games since his call-up by Chicago and has scored 11 runs. And that fastball judged to be high by Joe West. And I think the count is 3-0. Scoreboard says 2-0. It was 3-0. It's ball 4. 3rd walk issued by Dwight. And the Cubs again, as they did in the 6th inning, and in the 4th inning, and in the 2nd inning, have their leadoff batter on. And here's Ryne Sandberg. Sandberg has doubled in 2 official at-bats. He struck out and walked and stolen a base. And that was actually Dwight's 4th walk of the evening.
You know, they have so many stats nowadays. There's a stat on this thing that says that Ryne Sandberg hasn't committed a game in 57 consecutive games on AstroTurf.
Oh, an error, yes.
I mean, not a game, right? He hasn't made an error in 57 games on AstroTurf.
And that's particularly significant tonight since we're playing on real grass.
Another one of the useless stats that we get. Thought I'd share that one with you.
That's an incredibly stupid stat, all right. And a strike called to Sandberg. It's 0-1. Sandberg, with his base hit, a double back in the 1st, is now hit in 15 of his last 18 games, hitting over 300. Gooden trying to vary his delivery. Chases Walker back at first. Walker with 9 stolen bases already. He's only played now 12 games.
9 of 10. He's only been thrown out 1 time. Ryne Sandberg, if he gets another hit, it will be his 48th multi-hit game this year. That's hitting.
He has been so consistent. Grounded slowly to 3rd, and it is a foul ball. Walker was called out at 2nd, but it's going to be no play. His 3rd base umpire, Dana DeMuth, waited and then made the call. Joe West, the home plate umpire, concurring.
You see the play here. Right down the line, just a little bit foul. Good call by the umpire.
See Joe West throwing up those hands. Really, it's his call to make, as long as the ball does not go past the 3rd base bag, and he made it. And time called as a streamer has been thrown onto the field in left field, retrieved by the left field ball girl.
Well, there have been a couple announcements tonight about Met fans being good fans and letting the Mets keep a good home field advantage here at Shea Stadium for the playoffs. They're asking everyone, please not tear up the field. Something that has really gotten out of hand in baseball in these days. Hope the Met fans don't do it today.
Yep. Again, Walker chased back. There are a lot of Mets fans here. Every seat that is available for use being used, and there are just 11 folks short of 50,000 people in the ballpark. Walker running, and the pitch in the dirt. Carter wants the appeal, but John McSherry says no. So it'll be a stolen base for Chico Walker, his 10th in 11 tries.
Tough pitch for Gary Carter here. I think he realizes that he has no chance to throw Chico Walker out, so he went for the strikeout.
So Walker is at second with one away, or with nobody out, I should say, and the count now to Sandberg, 1 ball, 2 strikes. A good fastball blows Sandberg right out of there.
Well, this is Dwight's 7th strikeout, and he is still pumping the ball hard. To throw a fastball by Ryne Sandberg, you're pumping, because he is a pretty good 2-strike hitter.
Well, I'd like to know what the old radar gun had to say about that one. Rafael Palmeiro now. Palmeiro 0 for 2 plus a walk, is grounded out and struck out.
They're very high on young Rafael. A lot of good statements about him as Dave Magadan. They feel he's the same type of hitter that Magadan is.
And he hits this one well. Strawberry going back to right, looking up, out of here. A 2-run home run by Rafael Palmeiro. And it is now 4-2 New York. And the agony etched on Dwight Gooden's face. Palmeiro's 2nd big league homer.
Well, no sooner did I talk about young Rafael Palmeiro than he showed us why the Chicago Cubs are extremely high on this young man. Dwight Gooden with a fastball out over the plate, not up, just kind of right in the zone. And he hits this ball high and far. And although Lenny Dykstra tried to go over the fence to catch it, it's a home run.
Well, you can certainly tell by Dwight's facial expressions what he went through, and now he's trying to regather himself and get back to the task at hand as Keith Moreland stands in. And a fastball is grounded to short. Santana up with it to Hernandez. 2 away.
If there's any game in Dwight Gooden's career he wants to finish, this is the one.
He has lost the shutout, but that is not of primary importance. 1 out in the 8th inning, and a 2-run home run by Rafael Palmeiro, and it's 4-2. Now with 2 out, Leon Durham in there. Durham 1 for 2 plus a walk, single to center back in the 2nd. Durham extending his hitting streak to 10 games with that base hit. He's hit .370 or better over the last 10 games. And he drills a fastball deep to center, but that's the deepest part of the park, and Len Dykstra will not have to jump for this one. And the inning is over. But the Cubs score 2 on Rafael Palmeiro's 2-run home run, following a walk to Chico Walker. And we will go to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Mets still trying to wrap it up. Here's the home run by Rafael Palmeiro as Dykstra tries in vain to get it.
If he could have got maybe a little bit closer to the fence before he got his leap, he might have got the glove over, but I still don't think he would have got it.
Darryl Strawberry, had he been able to get to the wall earlier, would have had a better shot since he's significantly taller than Dykstra.
And jump a lot higher.
Yes. But it was out of here.
I like that one. My old Pods, you got that one good.
Ray Knight to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning for New York. Rafael Santana and Dwight Gooden to follow against Frank DiPino, who picks up strike 1 with a fastball over the outside corner. Knight on the evening is 1 for 3. He doubled to left his last time up, but was stranded at 3rd. And he rips another one down the left field line. Ray Rounding will hold at first as Palmeiro gets the ball back in quickly. So Knight with his 2nd base hit leads off the 8th inning.
Ray Knight explodes again, pulls that ball down the left field line. First base coach Bill Robinson does a good job on this thing, holding Ray Knight up, telling him that the left fielder was playing over further after Ray, his last double was down the left field line. He obviously shipped him over a little bit. Good call by first base coach Bill Robinson to hold Ray Knight up, because if he'd have gone to second, he'd have been thrown out.
Ray Knight does not run well, and here's RAFAEL Santana who takes a strike. Santana 0 for 3, has struck out, popped out, and grounded out. And the last time the New York Mets won the divisional championship in 1973, Rusty Staub was a part of that team. And this year, Rusty has joined us in the broadcast booth, has done an excellent job. And I know that after being a part of the club, Rusty, especially the last 2 years, as Santana fouls one down the right field line out of play. The Mets having come close in both 84 and 85, and you were one of the big reasons why. You obviously have a lot of emotions on this evening, being up here rather than down there.
Truthfully, Steve, through this whole year, I've had a good year. I've enjoyed myself. This has been one of the toughest days of my life to watch everybody. I was down on the field earlier. I had to leave. The excitement was great. I'm really happy with what everybody's been doing on this Met Ball Club. But it was a little emotional for me to realize that they're actually going to put it all together here tonight. And I'm not going to be really a part of it as part of that team that I was a part of for so long. It's the first day it really got to me this year.
And understandably so. But you certainly had a big role, Rusty, in the Mets getting to this point. That's for sure. Santana skies it into left center field and hits it well. Palmeiro and Dernier there, and Dernier makes the catch. Knight back to first with one away. Santana hit that ball about as far as he can hit one.
He certainly did. It's a fast ball right out over the plate. RAFAEL gives it a look. It was almost like a home run look. I don't guess he's hit it any harder than that in his life, so I wanted to take a peek at it. I can add one thing to what we were just talking about, Steve. I don't think anyone's any more proud of the young men that have performed down on that field for the New York Mets this year than I have been this year. They've earned everything they've got.
Well, you're still one of their gurus, pal. They appreciate you too. Dwight Gooden squaring to bunt, takes low for ball one. Dwight 0 for 3 has struck out twice and lined to second. Checking things out with third base coach Bud Harrelson. Ray Knight at first with one out, bottom of the 8th inning. And Gooden bunts it toward first. Durham almost had the ball go by him and almost threw it away. And just does get Gooden with SANDBERG covering on the sacrifice to move Ray Knight over to second now with 2 out.
Dwight Gooden laying this ball down. Durham charged. The ball kind of went away from him. Otherwise, I think he might have made an attempt at second base. But he picked it up, wheeled it to first, and as you said, Steve, he almost wheeled it right down the right field line.
SANDBERG had to react very quickly and did to haul it in. So 2 out for Len Dykstra, who is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, a single and a double tonight, plus a walk. It is 4-2, New York leading with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th. The Philadelphia Phillies trailing St. Louis 8-5 in the 8th inning as the Mets try to wrap it up regardless of what the Phillies do, and Dykstra pops the first pitch up. Dunston out in short left field, and the inning is over. So 1 hit and 1 left in the 8th for New York, and the fans are getting ready to celebrate the 1986 Eastern Division Championship as New York will go into the 9th inning with a 2-run lead. It's party time at Shea as 50,000 fans are generating their own electricity, getting ready for what should be the biggest celebration in the history of the New York Mets franchise. 49,989 total on hand, a paid crowd of 47,823. They are ready, and the Mets are 3 outs away from their 3rd divisional title in 25 years. Appropriately, Dwight Gooden is on the mound, and here in the 9th inning he will face Jody Davis, Sean Dunston, and Bob Dernier. Davis has hit the ball well tonight, but he is 0 for 3. Grounded sharply to third, fly deep to center, and then fly to left in the 7th. Time has been called by home plate umpire Joe West, and they're asking for a light behind home plate to be turned off. It apparently is bothering Dwight Gooden and the infielders and possibly the outfielders. Possibly some kind of interviewing going on in that tunnel behind home plate. So Dwight will take a couple of extra warm-up tosses to stay loose.
Looks like somebody might have been filming what looks like the New York Police Department, that I'm sure are going to be ready for whatever happens here at Shea Stadium.
Security forces are massing all over the stadium. And a breaking ball is inside to Davis for ball 1. 4 hits, or rather 4 runs on 11 hits and no errors for New York. The Cubs with 2 runs on 5 hits off the doctor, and they have committed 2 errors. Ball 2 is high. 2-0. Dwight has struck out 7. He has given up 5 hits and walked 4. He is going after his 11th complete game of the year. 3-0. The Cubs have had their leadoff batter on in 4 innings tonight, and you can see the forces in the dugout already as Jody Davis leads off the 9th with a walk, the 5th issued by Gooden.
Shortstop,
Well, Dwight's going to have to hold his emotions in. There's a lot of emotion down there in that field right now. Everybody's ready to burst forth with that emotion. Not only the fans, but those players in those white uniforms are really ready to burst, and he's going to have to contain himself with 3 more outs. Comes Davy Johnson out.
Gary Carter went out to talk. The entire infield now is there. Roger McDowell is up and warming in the bullpen for New York. The first activity of the night for New York. And Davy just with a few words of encouragement and a pat on the back for the doctor. Of course, the crowd loves it. They do not want to see Dwight taken out of the game. And the ice is not melting.
Davy Johnson would rather people pull teeth out of his mouth before he'd rather pull Dwight Gooden out of this game. He's just hoping that Dwight Gooden right now can get it together.
Dunston 1 for 3. Ground ball to short. It'll be a tough double play if they even attempt it, and they don't, as Dunston runs extremely well. But the lead runner is erased on the force at second. 1 away.
You're going to see a very professional shortstop here. He realizes he has absolutely no chance, just takes his time, throws the ball to second baseman. Wally Backman moves out of the way. They know they're not going to get Sean Dunston. That's being on top of the game.
And they did not try to force the issue. Chris Spire is going to pinch hit for Bob Dernier. Spire hitting .294 this year. 6 homers, 22 RBIs, and he takes a fastball right down the middle for strike 1.
He has certainly done a good job pinch hitting for the Cubs so far this year, Steve. He's got 6 hits and 15 at bats with 2 RBIs, and has hurt the Mets a couple of times with his pinch hits.
Dunston with great speed at first. Spire at the plate representing the tying run. Right through a fastball, 0-2.
Coming off the bench to face Dwight Gooden, it's tough for a left-handed hitter. Chris Spire has his hands full right here. He is an experienced player. He knows what he's doing. But it's tough to come off that bench cold and get that trigger ready for Dwight Gooden.
Spire is 6 for 9 career, and he grounds another base hit into the hole. Dunston running on the play will go to third. And the crowd becomes very quiet as the Cubs get the tying runs aboard with 1 out here in the 9th inning. Spire's 7th hit in 10 career at-bats against Dwight Gooden.
He just turns on a high fastball. That ball's up and out over the plate. He got his hands in there, pulled that ball into the hole. And you got to give Chris Spire a lot of credit. And we're going to probably see a pinch runner here for Chris Spire.
First base coach Billy Williams signaling. And that is the case.
It's maybe Martinez coming out.
Dave Martinez will in fact pinch run for Chris Spire. Spire set up against Gooden, 6 for 9 career, now 7 for 10 with also his 7th pinch hit of the year. And the Cubs have excellent speed on the bases. Dunston at third and Martinez at first.
It's truly amazing how some people, I can remember hearing that Mark Belanger, who was never known for his hitting prowess, was one of Nolan Ryan's toughest outs. Chris Spire is obviously been one of Dwight Gooden's toughest outs.
Batting .700 career against Dwight.
You can't explain it, it's just a fact.
Jerry Mumphrey hitting .306, pinch hitting for Frank DiPino. And a strike call.
As we told you before, Jerry Mumphrey, part of that duet that's been doing such a great job pinch hitting for the Chicago Cubs. He's had 10 hits and 25 at bats, 1 home run and 8 RBIs. And he has been working.
One out of the ninth with the tying runs at first and third. Strike 2.
Mumphrey's hitting 26 of his last 32 games, hitting .377. Is probably one of the veterans who is being hurt a little bit at this year-end period where all the youngsters are playing, having a chance to put some good numbers up. The Cubs obviously looking to 1987.
Two strikes on Mumphrey. And Gooden chases Martinez back.
In this situation, the Met outfield is playing correctly, very deep. You want to cut off any chance of a long double where that runner at first base is going to score. So the outfield's very deep. I think they actually should cover the gaps a little better.
Breaking ball, strike 3.
Well, Dwight Gooden has had some big strikeouts in his career. That's his 8th one of tonight. But no one's going to stand out bigger in his mind right now than that good curveball on the outside corner.
And now the excitement builds to an even larger crescendo as with 2 out. And the tying run at first base. Dwight Gooden faces Chico Walker, who is 0 for 3 plus a walk. And a beach ball has dropped behind home plate. No one paying much attention. Now it's removed. Down low, ball 1.
There's a swell of fans coming down now. I hope they don't really abuse the field.
They have actually spilled over into some of the photographers' areas on either side of the dugout, or the dugouts, I should say. And some of the security forces have now come out on the warning track to try to stem the tide. Another throw to first and a close play as Martinez dives back.
I don't think any organization in baseball wants to see their fans have a better time than the New York Mets. But I certainly hope, and I know everybody that's involved in baseball hopes that this field is intact tomorrow night.
Not only that, but you don't want to see anybody get injured. Not a player, not a manager or coach, and not a fan, certainly.
You can bet that the outfielders are scared right now.
Gooden with another throw to first to drive Walker back.
Before the game, some of the outfielders were talking about how they were going to be able to get off the field if the New York Mets did win this game tonight without being attacked by the fans. They were very concerned about it.
Well, they've got a lot of ushers and security people out, but they are obviously greatly outnumbered. Fouled away, and the count 1-1 to Walker.
There was great electricity in the St. Louis series in 1985. Tremendous electricity. It is here tonight.
The Mets fans have been tremendous. They have turned out in record numbers. They have been delighted by the play of their ball club, and they are ready to celebrate. Fastball foul back with Martinez running, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the crowd will get even louder, anticipating the final strike of the game.
This is great, Steve. This is just great. I love it.
These Mets fans have waited for this really for the better part of 3 seasons. Ever since the '84 campaign when the Mets became a contender. And they are ready to bust loose in more ways than one.
13 years of waiting.
Ground ball to second. Backman to Hernandez. The unbelievable season is not over, but the championship is here in New York. The inevitable has finally become a reality. And the adoring fans have swept on the field. On September 17th, the New York Mets become champions of the National League's Eastern Division for 1986.
Well, you see everyone swarming on the field. There's tremendous excitement here. Some of the players were still on the field. They've all run now to the seclusion of the clubhouse, the safety of the clubhouse. We're hoping that everyone here has a wonderful time. We're also hoping that no one gets hurt and that Shea Stadium survives. And as that sign says out in the outfield, it is a September to remember.